Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is the Thursday live stream that I do at, of course, 3 in the afternoon. If you're new to the chat or new to the stream, we try to talk about classic cars and questions and answers and ideas and stuff we have going on. And that's where we're at. So if somebody has a question, go ahead and put it out there for us. If somebody has a good answer, they get a bell. We also have various bells for other things, maybe comments or Dave sightings. So, and with that, let me point this out real quick. I haven't seen, maybe I've missed them, David and Cheryl. So usually they show up on, on the live streams. But, Dave and Cheryl, hope everything's okay. Haven't seen you on here. Hope things are okay. I think you're in Missouri, I believe. I hope everything's good. I also will point out, how do I want to put it? I'm not 100% today. Just not 100%. A lot on my mind this week. And I had hoped to have more done on the preparation for the car for Jade, but I gave up. I've got the whole, I think everything is sanded except for like small pieces. The valance is laying on the floor behind me. And I was, working on all that stuff, and it just there's a lot going on in my mind right now. And part of that is, I've mentioned this before, and I'm just not trying to keep repeating myself, but my brother passed away 2 months ago, and we're doing a memorial service for him this weekend. And so that has been weighing on me. And I know I'm going to have to speak at his service. And so lots of thoughts are going through my head, and, just all kind of things weighing down and pounding on me that, problems with the car, the whole making the trip to Pennsylvania. My mind is 700 miles away right now. And just to give you some insight, we're towing a trailer with us because my in-laws are giving us a golf cart. They want us to have their old golf cart. They used it for camping, and they're no longer camping. And they said, hey, why don't you take this with you? So I'm going to tow a trailer back to Pennsylvania. This is where it gets even more kind of stressful. My trailer has had the same tires on it probably for 20 years, 18, 20 years. And the last trip I made with a trailer, I think it was the last trip, I had a tire going down on me, and I had to, take care of it. It's still the old tires. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I need some new tires for my trailer. I've got to put some new tires on it. So, of course, you start hunting for these things, right? You start Googling, looking for tires and wheels. And you find that they want a lot of money for trailer tires and wheels, because I wanted a spare. Ideally, I wanted a spare that I could just take with me and put on the trailer, if something went wrong. Then I got to thinking, well, these tires are old. I'll just get a pair of, a new set. Well, you look online, and Tractor Supply has them for, one tire and wheel combo for $150. Okay. Discount Tire will sell you one, or set up various Northern Tool, various places, but it's still $150 to $180 for one tire and wheel. So I looked on Facebook Marketplace, and I found a guy who has brand new tires and wheels. I don't know where he gets them from. I don't care, but he had brand new tires and wheels. And he would sell me two complete brand new tires and wheels assembled for $192 for the pair. Great. I said, great. So yesterday, late afternoon, I took off, drove an hour and 10 minutes to where this guy lives. And I had made a mistake. I knew better. I was measuring out my lug pattern on my wheels because I knew I needed, a certain size pattern. And somehow I got it wrong. I messed up. So I drove an hour and 10 minutes to get those tires and wheels. And then I drove an hour and 25 minutes to get home, only to discover I bought the wrong tires and wheels. Right tires, wrong wheels. So I called the guy up and said, hey, I bought the wrong ones. He said, fine, you can exchange them. Great. So this morning, get in the car, drive an hour and 10 minutes, swap out the tires and wheels, drive back an hour and 15 minutes, put them on the trailer. That's how my week has been going. That's how my week has been going. In fact, I was trying to do some minor things on the car, just little things. Just, I always try to say, find something to make progress. Find something you can do. Even if it's just a little thing, it makes a difference. And so I decided I'll put the block off plates for what they call drain holes, but they're not drain holes. Those are tooling jig holes in the floor pans of the Mustang. I'll put the plates in. That way when I spray the paint, it doesn't get back inside the car. I'm going to seal them up. Great. I had the plates. Where are the screws? What did I do with it? Where did I put the screws? Well, I had to dig around for an hour or more until I found the screws that came with the plates, just so I could put them in the car. That's how things have been going for right now. And so stress, life, it all comes after us, it all comes in to get after us. All right, let me see who's here. We have Greg checking in from Australia, Greg's workshop. Jessica's two-car garage. Hello, kind sir. Would you happen to have a master cylinder, brake pedal all the way to the floor on the way home? No. Rick Stevenson checking in. Glad you're here. Scott Keeney is here. Bob Knoll. Good afternoon, Barry. Good to see you. This is Bob up in Detroit. What about Bob? You know what? I'll give you a Bob Bell. That movie that was a good movie. And in fact, I'll tell you this. Whenever I go to restaurants and they ask you for a name, for your order, I just say Bob. I don't bother. Just Bob. Keep it simple. Nobody else is going to care. Crash Rider, good afternoon and greetings from Southern Indiana, and eating some homemade fresh strawberry pie and watching Joe Daddy. Life is wonderful. That sounds really good. You know what else is really good? And it may not be good for everybody. I like shoe fly pie. If you ever had shoe fly pie, you'll know what I'm talking about. I like shoe fly pie. It's something my mom used to make. It still does, but grew up eating that stuff. So good stuff. And rhubarb pie. That's good too. Southern Prep checking in. Glad you're here. Jerry is checking in from Middle Tennessee. Good afternoon from Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here, Jerry. Truck 1 LT. Hi there, Barry. Glad you're here. Jerry, good afternoon from Middle Tennessee. Yes. And JT, back for more pony car updates. It's JT's contention. Yeah, condension. That's right. Truck 1, what's the story behind repainting Jade? Well, the problem is this guy right here has OCD. Has OCD when it comes to cars and doing work and making things right. OCD bad. So I sanded on. I painted the car, and in the booth everything looked fantastic. It did. It looked fantastic. So I didn't even think about taking it outside and looking it over before I sanded and buffed. And I sanded and buffed the car, put the wheels on it. I was so excited. Took it outside, shot a couple of videos. I was like, this thing looks really good. It looks really good. Well, all the sun had been hitting it on the passenger side, on the roof and on the passenger side. And I just happened, because what I was doing, I was pulling it in here to start assembly. I mean, put on door handles, put on the headliner. I mean, I was just excited. So I had to turn the car around, and I had it facing this direction, and the sun was coming from this direction, let's say, and it was hitting the driver's side. As soon as I got out of the car and stepped away, I could see the paint on the driver's side door was no good. I couldn't see it in the booth. I couldn't see it in the shadows or shade. But when I turned it around and the sun hit it, it just popped. A big light area in the middle of the door. And it was also a little bit dark on the front edge of the door, which made it even worse. It just compounded it. So, yeah, I decided I'm not playing around. I was already a little concerned that the hood and the deck lid may not match the car. I was already concerned with that, and I thought, deck with it. I'm just gonna start over. Now, start over is relative. I'm not going to take it down to primer. I'm sanding on the clear coat because now the clear coat will act as a sealer, and nothing should get from underneath is going to should cause a problem. So anyway, I've had to do all that prep work over again, and I decided I'm going to put the hood on the car, the deck lid on the car, the fenders on have everything on the car because I've already painted the door jambs and all that stuff. And so I'm going to put everything on the car, put foam tape around it, underneath the gaps and everything, and just spray the whole car over again. And hopefully it turns out really good, because if it doesn't, I might just shut the door and never do anything again. Yeah, that's where my mind is right now. That's where my mind is. Marshall, howdy, folks. Happy Thursday. Going to attempt the first start of the 347 in a couple of hours. Please wish me luck. I'll need it. We'll provide updates on Monday. Take care, all. Cool. Well, I'm glad there's some positive news there. That's a good thing. Jordan, I appreciate the work you put in. Thank you. Truck, wave hi as you drive by my house in PA. Well, I'll be in the, I don't know where you live, but I'll be in the Johnstown area, if you know where that's at. Hey, look, there's another thing. Now my compressor's running. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay. Sorry about that. That's how things are going right now. Kim Kiranicki, greetings from Cornwall, England. Well, I'm glad you're here. That's nice to have somebody from across the pond. Jordan, I wish I could have you work on my 67 Stang. There's a lot of people that want me to work on their cars. I can tell you that. Jessica, grab AAA RV before you take off. That will cover trailer tows and such. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Arthur Woodward checking in. Glad you're here. Dale, hello all. Dave and Cheryl, good afternoon. Everyone from Rain-soaked Missouri, check in before going to work. I was just talking about you because I hadn't seen you in a while. So I'm glad you're here. Now I feel better. Knowing you're here. Let me give you a David and Cheryl bell. Karsten, hello everyone from Denmark. I'm glad you're here. Mr. Cyrano, hey everyone in the garage working on the 71. Good. Scott, I second rhubarb pie. Excellent. Yes. Well, and strawberry rhubarb pie. Okay. Let's make it really clear. The good stuff is the strawberry rhubarb pie. Bob Nolan putting the Pioneer system on 67 Mustang today. So happy. Cool. That's a positive. Need more positive stuff. Mr. Cyrano, Carlisle swap meet next weekend. Wish I could go. Jasper, hi Barry, watching from the Netherlands. Wow, that's cool. That's a new name. I haven't seen your name before. I'm glad you're here. I was even debating on doing this live stream today because just, stuff going on. But I'm glad I did, because now I have some people here from across the pond who can participate. And also, I'm glad to see everybody else is here. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. Let's see. Bill Schroeder, why not try to fix it, even if the only reason is just for the experience of trying? Make use of a bad situation, if you will. You can still repaint if not happy with it. Yeah, I thought about that. I did. But if I touch up the fender and the hood, the fender and the door, if I try to get that color right on the fender and the door, and let's say it is right. Let's just say it is right. And then I put on the hood and the deck lid and the valance panels. And now they're all wrong. That's a lot of work. For me, it is, I think, to consider, taking care of the door and the fender and then go, "Ooh, this looks great. Let's move forward." And then I come back and again, hood, deck lid, something's off. I'm just not going to bother. I'm just not going to bother. And especially in this instance, I had to get a whole new mix of paint anyway because I only had like that much left, and it might just not work out. And then I'd be sanding and doing it all and adding more material. So I'm just bringing it down and not going to bother dealing with all of the extra work after that. So, I mean, it makes sense. It does. And here's the thing, if the car was black, I would not hesitate to reshoot the door and the fender. Would not hesitate. And this car is so straight, the black, it would be easy to do on this car. But certain colors you just can't mess around with, like silver. Silver is like one of the worst. Like even when we had a body shop and you had to blend silver, I don't care who did it or when they did it. I could see a color variance in silver every single time. Every single time. This color has a lot of flake in it. And so even when I'm spraying, if I were to mix the coat pattern, let's say if on the door and fender, I gotten more of a dry spray on the door and fender. Well, the flake is going to stand up a little bit more. And now you might have the same problem with a finish to where it's not looking right, And again, I torture myself more than anybody else. I torture myself when I do this stuff. And even now, I mean, even though I've worked on the car and I've been doing prep work, I still find little things that I can't fix at this point. I know I can't fix that. I'm just going to have to not look at, knowing that there's a small issue here or there. And I'm just going to have to force myself to not focus on that stuff. So in the grand scheme, I want to have all the color match over the whole car. And if it takes, this extra work, I'm going to hang all the sheet metal. I'm going to hang the valance panels, everything on the car, and just spray it. And do what they say, walk the car, where you continue one pattern, back and forth. And then, of course, I talked to Mr. Cyrano, and he had commented about going different directions because of the paint quality isn't as good as it was back 20 years ago. So, you could end up with a stripe pattern, and if you change kind of directions a bit, it's going to help blend all that color together. So anyway, again, I torture myself more than anybody. Truck 1LT Johnstown is about 3 hours northwest of me. Northwest. Okay. So you're out past Harrisburg. I used to fly out of Harrisburg on occasion. Harrisburg. Yeah. Yeah, you're getting closer to Philly, I think. Jerry, check your email. Oh, okay. Let me check my email. Okay. All right. We're gonna give Jerry an invite. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Okay. Let me see if I can get this taken care of. Oh, what? Somehow my comments went away. All the comments I had up there went away. Hang on a minute. I hope everybody's still here. I see it still shows 38. What did I do? I hope everybody's still here. Okay. Well, I'm seeing I lost a bunch of comments. So, Jasper, I asked you how you're going to work on Mustangs, and you did the story about the junkyard back then. Oh, okay. Well, it's probably been a while. Yeah, I mean, but I'm glad you're here. Crash Starter, you had previously stated that there were some minor problems that you wanted to repair also, so it really does make sense to do a complete repaint. Yes, there are definitely some flaws that I found in various spots. And, this kind of helps me make that decision that once I saw the bad paint, I was like, okay. I mean, I was angry, obviously. But I, there's other flaws I was able to address. You're right. And that's a good point. Truck 1 LTM, 20 minutes south of York in Stewartstown. Okay. Barry, so you're having a great week. Yeah. You're having a bad day. Yes. I'm telling you right now, I hope I sent Jerry the right link. Yeah, I did. Okay. I mean, right now my my mind is like way out here. See, here's another thing. I see you, Jerry. I'll get you on. I have, I had a doctor's appointment scheduled for next week. I'm not going to go into details, but I had a doctor's appointment scheduled for next week, and so that was stressing me out too, because I knew I had to make this trip, and part of this doctor visit I'm going to have requires me to not be eating food and stuff. That's all I need to say. But anyway, when I make road trips, I eat tons, figuratively, of sunflower seeds. Because when I'm driving and I start getting sleepy, I start eating sunflower seeds. And I'll probably eat, just on a one-way trip up to Pennsylvania, I'll probably eat 3 or 4, maybe 5 packs of sunflower seeds, just in that one leg of the trip. The little bags, whatever. And so the thing is, my doctor's visit was scheduled next week. No seeds. They were like, you can't eat all this stuff. So I'm like stressing out over the idea that I could get sleepy making my road trip. So I rescheduled my appointment for 2 weeks so that I can eat my sunflower seeds on my road trip and stay awake the whole time. Yeah, Dale, your bad day continues. Yeah, Dave and Cheryl, we're still here. Everything is just fine. Okay. Let me see. Bob, I had a power steering conversion. My car uses the same system as you, but the angle of my steering column has changed, is lower in my lap. Did you find that to be a problem? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hang on, Jerry. I'm getting to you. I don't think I've had that problem. Kudalev, Zoom call ended early, so I'm gladly checking in. I'm glad you're here. Mr. Serrano, VHC wheel paint and matte clear works great for spraying over flat black to give it that satin look, period, and very durable. That's good. Good to know. Let's see. Kevin Ryan, Joe Daddy. Yes, that's me. Truck one decided to replace my entire floor pan on my 65 fastback after patching both driver and passenger pans. You're further ahead. And Don Thompson is checking in. If you had done that before, obviously it would have been better, because even I'm at the point where I don't want I don't know if I'd want to do individual pans anymore. I'd probably want to do the one piece, center section floor pan. I think I would rather do that. Cooter, I also have found sunflower seeds keep me alert. Several bags will go down next week in a 14-hour drive to Minnesota. Yep. I eat those things like crazy. Oh, Ben. No Krispy Kreme today, but sunflower seeds instead. Thank you, my friend. Let's see. JT, funny, I eat sunflower seeds on a long trip to stay awake too. I didn't know that was common. Well, I started doing that when I was in the military. We used to have to stay awake, and that was part of the thing we would do, is eat sunflower seeds. Kevin, when doing the Mustang, are you able to access the frame rail spot welds by cutting a hole in the torque box? Yeah, I mean, I actually have a video on a 68. On several, I have torque box videos where I put in torque boxes. Yes, but that's going to be kind of iffy, unless you're going to be replacing the torque box anyway. Let me tell you this: if your frame rail is bad, like if it's rusted bad, then your torque box is probably bad too. Trust me on that. You probably need to replace the whole thing. But I mean, you could get in there. It's going to be really tough. Do yourself a favor and just replace the torque box. You'll be much happier to just do the whole thing. Truck one, I wasn't pleased with the way it looked. I figured it was the right thing to do. Yes. All right. Let me get Jerry on here. All right. Let's see. There he is.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. I just want to show you some pictures and get some comments from you and the audience.
Okay.
So let me flip this camera around and show you what I got.
Okay.
Are you seeing anything?
I'm seeing your door seam.
Okay. So right here is where the fender meets the new door panel. And you see the gap as it comes down. As I come back here, sorry about that, and look at the gap here, I'm a little bit low here. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit, the gap's a little bit wider here. And then as I look at the bottom here, the gap here,
I can't see it
across.
I can't see it. There you go. Okay.
It's uniform. And what I used was 2 paint sticks.
Yeah, and put them in the gap.
To set this gap.
Okay.
Here. And here.
Okay.
So here's the alignment issue that I'm dealing with.
Okay.
And here's the alignment issue I'm dealing with this fender, which is by the way, a Dynacorn fender from Taiwan.
Yep.
So let me step around the side of the lift here. I don't know if you can see this or not. The fender is as far forward as I can move it without taking metal out of the light recess.
Okay. What's it? Hang on just a second. Okay. I see what you're showing me now. I had to look at the convertible. So, is that apron bent? It doesn't look flat.
About the apron here.
I mean the core support. Sorry, the core support doesn't look flat.
The core support is new. Well, no, I'm sorry. The core support is not new here, right?
Right.
It is not new. It was existing.
Okay.
And I do know the car was wrecked before I got it. And I chose not to replace the core support. But I've taken just a bunch of measurements using tapes.
Yep.
Just a tape, and then I used a laser alignment tool, or not alignment tool, but a measuring tool. And the best I can tell, running from the center line, and I'll show you this. It may not be really good, but from the center line of where the grease zerd is on the lower ball joint. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Back to the back prey, or a point concentric on the, or consistent on the rear end. on both sides, and I'm within a tolerance of probably an eighth of an inch.
Well, I wouldn't base anything off the suspension
Okay.
because you can pivot. All that's adjustable. You know, you can tweak the suspension. Um, my thoughts are okay. So we know that the car was hit before, and then you fixed everything, and then it got bumped into the garage and bent things again, right?
Yes.
Okay. So did you do any pull a tape straight off the firewall to the cowl? I mean, to the core support?
No.
No straight pulls.
No. I haven't done that. I mean, I
Okay.
could do that really quick, but
Well, what I'm
but,
thinking
but I haven't
is
done that.
if I have a core support hanging in rafters, but I'm not going to get it down. But if you were to pull a straight line, let's say you put your tape up against the underlip of the firewall to where it meets the cowl, right? So you set your tape against the cowl in a recess underneath, right above the brake booster, let's say, and you come straight forward, and you're able to get a measurement to the back edge of the core support, the straight part of it. Obviously, it should be equal from side to side, but I'm thinking you maybe push back on the driver's side even more by what I'm seeing.
Okay, so let me show you one more thing here
Okay.
to tax your brain. This is the only original apron panel that's left in the engine bay.
Okay.
And as I look at it, and I've looked at it pretty extensively, I don't see any deforming or compression or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
So I kind of discounted a little bit, but I can understand taking a measurement off of the cowl.
Right.
Right. I mean, not the seam, but the cowl itself.
The cowl or the firewall, underneath
And,
it,
and,
underneath the
and
lip there.
yep.
So beside your shock tower, where you have your shock coming up, the piece where your shock tower is goes between the two aprons. Can you turn your camera to that? Is that got a hump in it?
On the apron.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
Yes, it does have a hump, but that's one of the aprons I replaced, and it came from the Philippines as a part, and I had to massage it a little bit to get it in there. So this part here, if you see where I'm reaching, is probably most of my efforts to get it to fit.
Okay. Because when I see something like that, I think compression. And that's just what my mind, whenever I see a hump, it's like something has pushed it back and kinked it up, in the middle. So if you had trouble fitting it in, I mean, that may have been part of it. It is compressed in that area, but I don't know for sure. I know this car's been abused. We talked about it before, that it's been hit before, and other work had been done to it and stuff like that. So it's really hard to point at things and go, this is what I see that's off, and know that that's exactly what's off. But I would suggest, again, pulling a tape, from the front of the cowl, the firewall to the core support, and just see what those numbers are, because you may be, at this point, everything may be shifted back slightly.
Well, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I can tell you that based on what I believe the history of this car is, that it got, they either didn't stop quick enough, or they did stop quick enough and they got hit in the rear end and pushed into another car.
Okay.
Because I believe, and you were here in the shop,
right,
and kind of looked at stuff, and your thoughts were, if I remember correctly, was that the front fenders were not original.
Right.
And
Yes.
and once I did all the media blasting and got the car cleaned up, I know they replaced both rear quarter panels.
Right.
And you know, if you remember on Grease Rookie's channel, he had a problem with his left side being drooping based on what he was trying to fix.
Right.
I had the same problem. Uh, Unfortunately, I had welded everything in place before I seen that video or some other stuff. And so my solution was to put a spacer in, which has got us pretty level. But my guess is that I had the same problem as what he had.
Yeah. That's very possible.
And so right now I'm not sure whether I should go back and readdress that or not, because that would be kind of starting over from 101. But you
Right.
know, you know, I do want this car to look good, and it's not going to be a show car. I mean, it's not Concours by any mean, because I've changed a lot of stuff on it, and but we'll have to kind of see how that goes. But I was kind of concerned because my first thought was just to cut the fender and move it in and make it fit the reveal.
Well, that's, you know what, I was kind of thinking in a short fix, let's say, if you remove some of the material at the fender where it's interacting with the apron, um, that might be enough to get it in place, you know, and it's not like it's that critical, you know, that extra material that's at that front edge. It's just part of the headlight bucket.
Right.
So you may see if you can take a quarter inch off or 3/8 of an inch or something and try to tuck it back in and see what happens.
Well, and that's kind of what I was thinking. But before I did that, I want to take a lot of the measurements, and I have not measured from the core support to the firewall.
Right.
But I'll do that and see if I've got a discrepancy. Uh, from a tolerance standpoint, what will you expect to see in difference from left to right side?
0.
All right.
I
So,
mean, honestly, if it's a solid straight car, if there's no issues at all, the number should be exactly the same on either side. But I can't tell you what would be acceptable, you know, because if it's a quarter inch, well, the quarter inch might be just what's killing you right now, you know.
yeah, no doubt.
But when I do these cars, and that's one of my things I measure out is from the firewall, you know, out to the core support, to at least make sure that distance is straight. Because I've said it before, when I do these things, I'll put all the fenders on and all the pieces and parts, and just without being strict on the measurements, so that I can make sure the exterior sheet metal fits the car. To me, that's more critical, to have all that stuff fitting correctly. So yes, if you can adjust sheet metal underneath to make it work, great. But you know, these cars have had a rough life. They've all been abused, and you know, other than starting off with a whole, you know, taking everything back off and putting on a frame machine and pulling everything right where it needs to be, there's really not a lot you can do.
Well, I was going to talk to a person that I know in the body business that and see if they have a frame machine, and I'm sure, because they do commercial stuff.
Right.
I mean, they are insurance stuff. That's all they do.
Right.
So I'm sure they've got a frame machine.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about just taking it down and or talking to him about it and just see what I need to do to get it down there and put it on a frame machine and see how true this thing is.
I mean, that's a possibility. And one of the viewers, Truck Win LT, points out, he's talking about measuring the locator holes on the frame rails. You know, because there's holes that are in the frame rail that they use as reference points for doing that sort of stuff.
And I've measured those, and the worst deviance that I've got off of measuring X cross and just front to back has been about 1/8 of an inch.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe just all of the top side then. If the frame rails are good, it may just be on the top side.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what, you give me a lot of good things to think about, and so before I start cutting this fender down, I'm gonna probably talk to my buddy at the body shop and see if he would be willing to put this on the frame machine for me, and see what's going on, and go from there.
Okay. Well, that's all you can do at this point, I guess. Try to figure out what's going on, what's wrong.
Yeah. I certainly don't want to. Um, Put it in a position that if I wanted to sell it, that a potential buyer would come back and say this car has been wrecked, it hadn't been corrected properly, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that is a struggle.
So,
yep.
Anyway, well, I
Okay.
appreciate the input, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's going to be some input on the comments, and I'll read those. And I appreciate the time on the channel.
Well, if nothing else, send me an email and let me know what you find out with those measurements.
I will.
So I have an idea of what you got through.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Nice having you here. See you.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Karsten, I eat gummy bears on long trip and drink Coca-Cola. That's one thing I rarely even drink anymore is soda. Don't do it anymore. I just quit developing a taste for it. Brian, hey, thanks for the videos. Very helpful. Finally have my 6.5 Mustang running, driving really nice. Rebuilt door hinges work better than new as well. Great tips on that. Cool. Glad to hear that. David and Cheryl, going back to work. Have a safe trip, Barry, and take care. Everyone has a safe and good holiday weekend. Big thumbs up. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully, the trip goes well and we don't have any issues. And I know they was talking about having some, maybe some rainy, cold weather coming through while we're there. But it also gives us a chance to visit my wife's family. We haven't seen them in 2 years, and it's been kind of rough. They both my wife's parents both had COVID, so that was kind of scary for them and for us because we couldn't do anything about it. But my wife, I know she's anticipating getting to spend time with her parents, and me too. I mean, it's great. It's going to be great to see them. But now that I have, new tires on the trailer, new wheels, even threw the spare on the trailer, or, in the back, and then I have, I always take a floor jack with me, and so the floor jack is now strapped down, stuff like that. Because if I break down on the road, I don't want to get out some little screw jack and mess with it. I'll pull out the floor jack, especially on a long trip, and take care of it. So, Marshall, Jerry, could you get the door further back to improve that gap? I sort of set that gap first and build forward since the rear line B pillar can't be adjusted. Good luck. Yes, very good point. That is a very good point. And I try to point this out as well. When you're building these cars, like even when I built the Brooklyn Pony, I started with the quarter panels and I worked my way forward, because there's certain things you can't move. And like Jerry was saying about using measuring the suspension and stuff. Well, the suspension can be manipulated, to change or to fit your needs. So I'd kind of shy away from that stuff. But you're right though. Start with the door gap, get it right. And I think it's what he's trying to do. Actually, get that right because you got the bottom level, and work the fender forward. Now, I've also at times had issues where these aftermarket doors just aren't in the right shape. Even if you get the lines right, the gap is off, and so I've done it before. I've had to add on material just to get a nice crisp line on the door gaps. So. Greg, hi Barry. It doesn't look too far out that hump should not be there. Oh, okay. You're talking about on the aprons. Yes. Yeah, I agree that hump should not be there. It should be flat. So, and this is one thing that's been bugging me. Now that I'm hyper focused on this paint on jade. I realize now that I probably didn't do well. If you go back and look, I had trouble with the aprons on jade. The passenger side apron that I put in was not. It didn't have the right shape at all, and I had to massage it to make it fit the car like it should. And now that I'm, you know, not this close to finishing, but this close to finishing, I'm looking at how that is on the how it looks. I'm like, oh man, I didn't get these aprons smooth like it should be. And then I'm like, well, I just won't open the hood. And that may be what I do. I don't need to open the hood. I'm not showing off any kind of engine. You know, I'll clean it and stuff. But I was kind of like, oh man, now that I see that, I just stop yourself from digging back into that. Jessica, coffee is a must on the road for me. Yeah, well, the problem with me, you know, I like coffee, I really do, but I'm kind of immune to it, if that makes sense. Like, caffeine really doesn't do anything to me, just to be honest. But I do like drinking coffee. So, Jessica, don't forget the jack stand. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, wouldn't hurt to have a jack stand. Normally, I take some blocks of wood with me. Either use them as chocks or you can stack them up. But I usually, you know, try to take some blocks of wood. But that's a good idea. Should have a jack stand. Okay. What else is going on? There's a lot of just crazy stuff. I did get I actually have edited the video I made on the run that I had on the quarter panel where I use spot putty. That is processing right now. Hopefully it works out and is a good video. It's going to be boring, you know, because sanding, you know, I'm sanding. That's it. And trying to talk about the process. But I wanted to try it, and it seemed to work pretty good, actually. So that'll be probably be up to, well, it'll be up tomorrow. So there will be a video up tomorrow on the block sand or the sanding out the run on that quarter panel. You know, and the bad part is, as we all know, I did all that. I buffed it, polished it, made it look nice. And then, of course, it's like, well, doesn't matter. I'm starting over anyway. Dawn, if you stop drinking coffee, you'd find out what it's doing. Yeah, I've done that before. I mean, I stopped and really didn't have much effect, honestly. I know some people get severe headaches when they don't drink coffee, but I don't know. I've been pretty lucky with not having any issues, I think. I don't know. Whoops, G Mars. Hi Barry, I saw your video yesterday where the Mustang was getting buffed out with the 3M compound, so I wanted to ask, have you ever used Meguiar's M105 compound? I don't know. I mean, I know I have some Meguiar's, but I've been pretty happy with the 3-step 3M products that I've been using. I think I have some Meguiar's in the back, but I don't know what the part number is. Sorry. Oh. Okay. Let's see. Jasper, if it's just sanding, call it ASMR and everyone will watch it. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to start sanding and then I'm going to polish and then we'll take another look at it. Isn't that how that works? They just whisper at you for, you know, whatever, or these people that, I don't know. It's all weird to me, ASMR. Unwrapping candy wrappers or eating something. I don't know. Just kind of weird. Crash Rider, quit beating yourself up over what you wish you had done because you always find a flaw of some kind, regardless how much you do. Really, is perfection possible? You know, it's not possible. Um, and I agree. I agree with you 100%. It is not possible. But oh my goodness, it is. I don't know. It's just how I'm geared. That um, and obviously there's benefits to it, to having this sort of sickness about it. I know whenever I was like in the military, if I was challenged to something, probably 9 times out of 10, I would win because of, it was a skill set, and I had to I would like prove myself in that skill set. So when I look at the car, it's kind of, again, it's the skill set challenge to me. Can you do it? Even when I'm taking a car that's rusted in half, and I look at it as a skill set challenge, can you do it? And so it's for lack of a better term, it's a competitive nature in me. It is. It's just a competitive mindset that I have, and um, it's hard to like step aside from that. It really, really is. In fact, I probably didn't mention it. Well, if you remember, I was like running. I was running and exercising and doing a lot of things, physically challenging for my age bracket, let's say, and doing Spartan races and all that. And because I was so um, competitive, I would push myself really hard to win, or be in the top 10, whatever it is. And I'm realizing that I can't do that anymore physically. That sort of thing is not going to happen. One of the problems I'm having, I had to go to the doctor 2 weeks ago for my ankle. And when the doctor, because I've injured my ankle when I was in the military and multiple times after that. But when the doctor looked at my X-rays and she went, "Ooh," it's like, yeah. She said, "Don't run anymore. Don't run anymore." She's like, "Your whole ankle is full of arthritis. Your middle foot is full of arthritis. Your big toe is full of arthritis." And she's like, "Yeah, you can't do stuff like that anymore." So now that I'm that sort of thing, I'm like, okay, I can't do that, those kind of physical things. But the challenge of making car look right or straight or welding or whatever, it always gets to me. It's just, I don't know. I think I may have mentioned it because I've talked about my brother. One of the things my brother would always do to me is, if I was trying to get a task finished, whether it was putting an engine in a car or a transmission or whatever, he would see me, getting mad or being frustrated and just getting like kind of, just beating myself up over it. And then he would say, "You'll never get it done. You may as well just quit. You'll never get it done." That just made me mad. And I would work, I would nonstop go to finish that project, whatever it was, until it was completely done, just to prove him wrong. And he knew he could do that to me. He knew that he could just push that button in me and go, "You'll never get it done. You may as well quit." Maybe so mad. Karsten, I have been fighting electrical problems on my Opel Corsa for 5 days. I don't like to work electrical problems, but it is nice when you get it worked out. Yeah, I don't like electrical either. And I've talked about this before, because a lot of times it isn't something I did. It's something that somebody else did, or it's a piece of equipment that failed that was brand new out of the box. I've done it before. I've installed a brand new part, had all the wiring correct, and it didn't work. And I would go through troubleshooting, only to find out that the brand new part out of the box was bad, and it was nothing I did. That makes me mad. Rick Stevenson, Builder Barry. Can he build it? Yes, he can. That's there's a lot of things I can build, but I am realizing more and more that, like, let's put it this way, my ankle, and not that this is a good example, but like my ankle, the movement of my ankle is literally like from here to here. That's it. That's the full range of motion of my ankle. because of all the crap that has broken loose inside it and it's stuck in a joint and all the arthritis. And the doctor was like, you're probably going to be a good candidate for an ankle replacement. Oh, good. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Jessica, doctors make that face when they look at my back. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, when I was being in the military, you're 18 to 20 years old, 21, you're pretty bulletproof. You'll just keep on going, I lost a leg. I'll keep moving. It's just a flesh wound, but now, paying a price for it, paying the price. But that's how life is. Okay. Let me think what else, if there's anything else I need to address. Videos editing or processing right now. It'll be up tomorrow. I have to get up. I'm getting up at like 3 a.m. to start this road trip in the morning. And so that's not going to be fun. Still things to do. Still got to pack up. Still got to make some preparations and try to get this done. I had hoped to go. Well, I had plans for possibly picking up some parts on the same trip when we went up there. But I realized that the place I need to go to get these parts is too far away from our destination. So can't do that. May end up having to make a whole nother trip because I'm looking at picking up possibly picking up a whole fastback conversion, possibly. So, Dawn, it's not the years, it's the mileage. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that because I put on a lot of hard miles, a lot, and it is definitely paying the price. Jessica, just because it's new doesn't mean it's good. That is true. That is true. Carson, my wife said to me, this time you have to send out. Wait a minute. My wife says to me, this time you have to send out to a garage. This time, not going to happen. Oh, she's saying instead of you working on it, you're going to send it to a garage. Yeah. She's challenging you. That's what she's doing. She's saying, you can't do it. You can't do it. Crash Rider, I'm the same way my wife calls me Mr. Perfection because I want everything I work on to look perfect to have a safe trip. Yeah. That's why, I don't know. It's just difficult. It's just difficult. Scott, city miles, not highway. That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it. Even as I sit here and, I'm not even moving my foot and my ankle hurts. not doing anything with it. So I have a friend who, he's actually a dentist who told me that he had, I don't know what they do for this. They said he had to have both of his ankles fused. I'm not sure how that works because his were so screwed up, and he now is developing back problems because of that. Which I get it. All right, have a safe trip. I'm staying home with Betsy. Thank you, Don. Okay, I can't think of anything else I need to mention or bring up. I did pick up a new batch of paint reducer. A new batch of clear coat. I have all that stuff here ready to go. Hopefully, I'd wanted to be painting the car yesterday and today. It just wasn't worth it. I knew I was on a downhill slide and just couldn't focus enough to make it happen. So next week, it is what it is, but I think everything will come together next week. Hopefully my mind is calm back down, and I'm able to focus on that task and make it happen. So I think that's going to be it for this week. It's been an hour. It's been great. I'm glad everybody is here and hanging out, and we'll do it again. Now, hopefully, I can't confirm yet that I'll be here on Monday. I can't confirm that. If not, then it'll be, Thursday. Because I'm not going to do a Tuesday thing. But anyway, I want to thank you all for being here, and we are going to call it a day. So Let me see here. Yep. All right. That'll be it. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.